Hi everyone, it's William with the Grand Duke Dmitri 1921 Diary Series, and I try and make it through without the dogs interrupting. We're up to the 26th of March. I am happy because I got this book that I ordered, Days of Our Years by Pierre van Passen. I don't know how to pronounce it. He was Dutch name, but Canadian and American. I think he had citizenship in both countries. He was a journalist and kind of a crusader against fascism and certainly Nazism, and was even imprisoned at Dachau in 1933, although he was released after a few months. So what's the relevance of the book? Well, Dmitri was reading it at Sanatorium Schatzalp in 1940. It was a bestseller in the U.S., and his sister, Grand Duchess Maria, bought a copy for him and sent it to him at the sanatorium. So when I'm back at Schatzalp beginning in April, I'm going to read it as well. Hopefully the weather will be good enough that I can do it on the balcony. Okay, so our recap for the previous diary entry. Well, it was an important day for Dmitri because it was his first visit to the golf club in Monte Carlo. Beautiful, beautiful golf club, 900 meters above the town. And then it was just a quiet evening with Coco, and they went to bed early. Yeah, so that was pretty much it. The old married couple, almost. Today, our cast is, a person of world significance in his day. General Baron Carl Gustav Mannerheim, who would become Marshal Mannerheim of Finland. So some of you will know exactly who he is, and some of you not, at least in the U.S. He's certainly not a household name. And one other person, nameless Scottish golf pro. Okay, so let's dive in. 26th March, 1921, Saturday, Monte Carlo, Riviera Palace Hotel. At 10 o'clock, I went to play golf. There, I unexpectedly ran into General Mannerheim. Naturally, we couldn't talk about anything, but it was rather amusing to see him at the golf club in Monte Carlo. I played all morning with the pro, who turned out to be a very appealing Scotsman. My game was just horrible, but he gave me some very good advice. I got back around 1 o'clock. I took a bath and lunched with Coco upstairs. Afterwards, she took a nap and I wrote. After tea, we rented a car and took a drive. We drove around Cap Martin and Menton. It was very pleasant, but the weather wasn't warm. We dined upstairs and went to bed very early. Lots of verys in this diary entry. All right. Rather amusing, because when you read Dmitri's diary entries in the original Russian, you see a word that looks like so-so, S-O-S-O, and that, in fact, of course, is actually Coco, which Dmitri writes not in Cyrillic letters, but in Latin letters. But since it's surrounded by only Russian, you stumble and think, so, did he use that expression? Okay, so what we don't know is what Coco was doing in the morning when Dmitri was off playing golf. Was she maybe attending to some business? Well, I guess, people didn't have laptop computers back then, or the internet, so probably not. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. The minute the weather is just a little nice, you have people out walking around. Duke, come here. Okay, now it's the little one, and once he starts, he never stops. Crispin! Well, we'll see. Crispin! Okay. I don't want to start over. Carl Gustav Mannerheim, at that time a general, later on a marshal. He was in his 50s, and he was, correct me if I'm wrong, any of you, I think we do have a viewer from Finland, at least we did in the past, so I don't want to stick my neck out too much, but isn't he more or less regarded as the father of modern Finland? He was an officer in a Imperial Russian Guards regiment, cavalry regiment. But after the revolution, he returned to his native Finland, which was part of the Russian Empire, and he led the military effort to keep the Bolsheviks from swallowing Finland up and adding it to the Bolshevik state, later the Soviet Union. And then in World War II, or at the very beginning of World War II, in 1939, he was the leader during the so-called Winter War, when, again, the Soviets were trying to take Finland. They invaded Finland, but Mannerheim was there to lead the effort to repel the invasion. And he took the available help, which meant he took the help of the Germans, which meant, of course, the Nazis. It was a Nazi state in 1939, but, you know, he did what he had to do. And Dmitri, while he was at Schatz Alp, in addition to reading this book, well, this book came a little later, was very, very closely following the Winter War. So he knew Mannerheim, obviously. Mannerheim was more than 20 years older than him, but he'd been part of the group of guards officers that Dmitri would have encountered in Russia. And in fact, if you go to Mannerheim's Wikipedia page, you'll see a picture of him at Nicholas II's coronation, with as one of the guards officers preceding the Tsar in a procession. So he was a big wheel already by the time Dmitri met him on the golf course, because of what he'd done to keep the Bolsheviks out of Finland. And I believe he was, at that time, or was about to become the leader of the Finnish Red Cross. I'm not sure if he was. There were various times when he was the actual leader of the country, the president or the regent. I've heard both used, but I think at this particular time he wasn't. So he was there in Monte Carlo relaxing on the golf course, and Dmitri finds it quite amusing to see him there. I don't think he's saying that it's amusing to see the way he plays golf. I think it's just, wow, it's funny to see this guy of all people on the golf course. But the interesting thing is that Dmitri says we couldn't talk about anything. Naturally, we couldn't talk about anything. Of course, we couldn't talk about anything. So what does he mean by anything, and what does he mean they couldn't talk? Does he mean because he was playing with his pro and Mannerheim was playing, and, you know, they didn't have a chance to do more than say, hello, how are you? Or does he mean that it was too sort of sensitive for the two of them to talk, or that maybe there were other people with Mannerheim? I don't know. I would love to know. As you can tell by the way I'm focusing on it, I would so much love to know. Oh, well, so then they take this car, and I believe that Dmitri means that it's a rental car, because the word he uses, vzal, take. Anyway, it's not their car. And they go out to Cap Martin, and that's the second interesting thing in this diary entry, is that they visit this place that would end up being important to cocoa. not to poor old Dmitri. The two of them would be finished by the time Coco ended up building a villa there. I think, I'm not sure when, but Coco apparently fell in love with Cap Martin, and she would come back there and spend time there and eventually build this villa there that was called Pausa or Posa. I don't know, Pausa. I guess it's more likely the French pronunciation than the German. And it would be her sort of love nest with another of her great romances, this time with the Duke of Westminster. And it would be furnished with some furniture that he gave her, that he brought from his estate in England. Duke, come here. Oh, I'm almost finished. Okay, so I guess I won't say more about that. But, okay, quickly, next time. What do we have next time? Well, an excursion to Nice. And then Dmitri and Coco are going to branch out a little bit and take some and take some more risks in Monte Carlo. Yeah, they don't want people to run into them and report back to Paris, oh, guess who I saw in Monte Carlo. But, you know, it would be boring if they spent the whole time eating in their hotel room. And, yeah, so anyway, that is next time, and I hope to see you then. Bye.